Tonight we also induct 4 new members into our prestigious Alumni Hall of Fame. They are Margaret Avery. That's right. Andrew Lai. Michael McClure. And some other guy. Oh, Stephen Miller. That's who it is. The Hall of Fame, sponsored by the SF State Alumni Association, was created to honor those outstanding alumni who are acknowledged contributors in the wider community for professional, cultural, and civic achievements, and who bring great credit to their alma mater. Their photographs are displayed in the first-floor lobby of the ad building. Now, I can understand what our new alumnus of the year and 4 new Hall of Famers are feeling. I was inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame in 2003, and that same year was also named Alumnus of the Year. 2 years later, I was the university's commencement speaker. In other words, those were the dark years. Really? The accomplishments of those being honored this evening serve as a reminder to our students and to all of us that through a combination of skill, determination, hard work, and sometimes with more than a bit of bravado and luck, one can rise to the top of their profession and perhaps achieve more than they themselves had once ever dreamed possible. Each of the 4 alumni being honored tonight, in their own way and through their unique achievements, represents the best of San Francisco State. That's right. I don't lie, nor does the scriptwriter. Who can forget, this is our first inductee now, who can forget the excitement, beauty, and kindness that entered a cruel, harsh world when Shug Avery's character arrived in the film The Color Purple? For her portrayal of that role in 1985, Hall of Fame inductee Margaret Avery received an Academy Award nomination, but that would be only one of many theater, film, and civic honors she would earn during her long and full acting career, which continues today with television and live theater performances. Margaret's working life began as a teacher, a 1965 SF State graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree in education. She was hired immediately by the Oakland Unified School District. She excelled as a teacher, but her creative nature led her to develop her performing skills with evening and weekend singing, acting, and dancing classes. Within a year, she was performing weekends in Oakland community theaters and singing as a lead vocalist with a quartet. Inspired by African-American actors breaking into the field at the time, and by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, Margaret moved to Los Angeles in 1968 to pursue her own dream of becoming an actor, and that's just what she did. Working as a substitute teacher to support herself until the break that every actor dreams of, she continued to hone her craft as an actor and singer, first through commercials and then with guest and later starring appearances in television shows and films. Margaret's star continued to shine. Margaret has held office with the Kwanzaa Foundation of Los Angeles, an organization of actresses whose goal was to give back to their community. Then in 1995, she earned a Master of Psychology degree that led her to return to the LA Unified School District, where she worked as a psychotherapist. She eventually joined a private practice. Margaret continues to work as a volunteer counselor for local shelters that house abused women and children of domestic violence. This month, she co-starred in the play Gin Game in Shreveport, Louisiana, and currently co-stars on the hit BET series Being Mary Jane. Yeah, the second season begins in January. Be sure to binge watch it. She is also the recipient of an NAACP Life Achievement Award. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and pleasure to formally induct and welcome Margaret Avery Education Department, to the San Francisco State University Alumni Hall of Fame.
Lord, how did you know all that about me? You must have gone on the website. You never know what you're going to find out. They got me working in the 30s, and blacks weren't even in TV. When Doug Hupke called me and said that I was going to be inducted, I spent a little time trying to talk him out of it, because I felt that, gee, give me a little more time to contribute more. And then this little voice said, hey, fool, take this while you're alive. So only a couple of days ago did I think of something to say, and I thought, well, maybe it would be important for you to know what my experience was like at San Francisco State, and that was 51 years ago. I entered as a junior, transferred from San Diego City College, and that was 1963 to 1965. It was my first time living away from home, despite not knowing anyone, having no friends, no relatives. I enrolled into a new world of unknown challenges, embraced with lots of hope and enthusiasm to be young. America, in retrospect, my enrollment in 1963 to 1965 was amid America's challenging 60s. The controversial, as Congressman Miller said, Vietnam War, women's liberation movement, free speech movement, civil rights, gay rights movement, race relations, and television at that time brought America's confused world into our homes to view. That time in history became known as the cornerstone of laws today. Am I right? I remember one of the most poignant day that I experienced on the campus. I remember it as though it were yesterday. I joined hundreds of students on the sprawling campus lawn, now consumed by the humanities building, I believe. We stood shoulder to shoulder, still, quiet, listening to the loudspeaker. And as you know, that wonderful campus has its low, cloudy days, and this was one of them. Clouds created a misty fog. Blackbirds circled low above our heads, as though they too shared the need to listen. No seagulls that day. Can you imagine blackbirds flying low? We stood in shock. It was announced that our president, John F. Kennedy, had been shot. That was November 20th. 1963, a very sad Thanksgiving that year. Can you not hear me? I just did stage, so I went back to my film voice. Could you hear me? I am not aware of any study on the effect of the presidential assassination, the effect that it may have had on the morale of our country, or the emotions of the state of emotions of the students at that time. It is recently written that our First Lady, Jacqueline Kennedy, suffered from undiagnosed post-traumatic stress for several years. In retrospect, the devastating news came just 2 months following my enrollment at San Francisco State. And it was a catalyst for a deep sadness, confusion, disappointment in my country, a broken spirit, and probably a diagnosis of functional depression. The importance of the student counseling was not stressed at that time, nor did I know to seek counseling. So I look back and I wonder who survived the times. Years later, it became known to me that some of my classmates did not fare well during this turbulent time. My high school president from San Diego, voted most likely to succeed, burned to death in a drug-related fire. A college mate, shamed by her pregnancy, went to a quack and bled to death. Male students dropped out, fled the country to avoid the Vietnam draft. A high school classmate got involved with Charles Manson and was incarcerated for years. The popular song, "Where Have All the Flowers Gone?" gained new meaning for me. How did I get through those tough 2 years? I look back and I say, well, for sure, carrying 18 and 21 units per semester demanded my focus. And that was a requirement for me if I was going to meet the mark of graduating June 1965 and landing a job right away, which I needed, and I did. Anthony Chabot, North Oakland. I got a job 2 months after graduation, because at that time it was known that if you graduate from San Francisco State, honey, you got you a teaching job. And I did. Couples, I'm on how did I get through those 2 years? Because I didn't have any friends. I'd only been there 2 months. Coupled with a 20-hour work week job at Pacific Bell Telephone Company as an information operator. I'm taking you back. Information, one moment please. Can that be listed any other way? That's when you can't find the number, you're stalling for time. At 9 p.m. sharp, Pacific Bell provided a free taxi to my doorstep. Hats on right now to Pat Bell. So my schedule allowed no time to pledge a sorority, no time to take a much-desired elective drama class, no time to check out the interesting flower children in the Haight-Ashbury district, and honey, they were interesting. And certainly no time to date. I recall being stunned when the Black Student Union asked me to represent them as their homecoming queen candidate. I didn't win, but it boosted my spirit for a minute. So what got me through? I think about that. I was so lucky at that time. I could have dropped out. I sure as hell wanted to drop out. My spirit basically was very low. I was determined to graduate, not for myself, but because I did not want to disappoint my family. The thought of disappointing them kept thoughts of dropping out at abeyance. Low tuition certainly helped. I didn't know about my loan, what it was going to be, but my debt at graduation was $500. Paid off in 25 months at $20 a month. Now, that was a lot of money, but because I netted $16 a day as a teacher in 1965. $20 was a little more than 1 day's pay. Now today, who can pay off their student loan with a day's pay for 25 months? I did not participate in the graduation ceremony. I was just too exhausted. But I did graduate. I didn't go out to Cow Palace. I heard you stop that. You're on the ballpark field now or somewhere. But Cow Palace was just out of the question for me. I cannot imagine how different my life would be today, void of my education. I am so thankful for having parents and excellent teachers who stress the value of an education. I attended college when college was affordable. I was blessed with circumstances that allowed me to plow through my struggles with just the armor of strong determination. Words of encouragement and wisdom came from strangers that only now I recall. I didn't realize how important what they reached out and said to me at the time. Their true value is only recognized today. And I do know God carried me a lot of that time. I, as some of you, not all of you, but I have lived to see history repeat itself. We are fortunate to live in a democratic society, a society that is allowed to voice or print different opinions, as you have stated. Unfortunately, too often what is written or voiced is filled with misleading information, untruths designed to sway the uneducated, and they call it news. Political issues fought, won 30, 40, 50 years ago, we are now requiring the same fight, diligence to save them. My classmate bled to death going to a quack. I'll never forget that. We cannot allow ignorance, complacency, or greed to wear down the precious commodity, the human spirit. It is important that we each do something that will help another to help himself. Helping another to rise and help himself is a key element to help build and maintain a healthy, productive society. I would like to share a thought called True Success. I don't know who the writer is. It's anonymous. If any of you know, please let me know. I have it, if you're ever invited to my home, it's in my bathroom where you wash your hands. And I love reading it from day to day. True success. 100 years from now, it won't matter what car I drive, what kind of house I live in, how much I had in my bank account, thank God. Nor what my clothes look like. But the world may be a little better because I was important in the life of a child. And I know that you all can appreciate that wisdom. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.